Executives representing 4 of the biggest social media companies in the world testified on Capitol Hill yesterday, facing some intense questioning on what they are doing and what they are not doing to stop domestic terrorism on their platforms. My next guest says it's one of the greatest homeland security threats facing our country right now. Joining me, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Democrat Senator from Michigan, Gary Peters. Senator, thanks so much for taking the time. We do appreciate it.
Great to be with you. Thanks for having me on.
We are talking about Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. Just about everyone in this country has an account on at least one of these platforms. In your opening statement yesterday, you said the response from these companies has been incomplete and insufficient so far. Has anything changed since the hearing?
Not really. I was certainly disappointed by the responses that we had from the executives before us, who are product officers at the very top that approve these products that are put on these platforms. They were not straightforward in their answers. We've been trying to get answers to questions for months. Some of the specific questions about engineers that are actually engaged in trust and safety, for example. We actually said last week, I will ask you this question in the hearing, please be prepared. And they came, and every single one of them simply would not give the answer and were not prepared. Unacceptable. And, as you mentioned, domestic terrorism is a very real threat in terms of terrorist attacks in our country. The threat is not from international terrorists, although we still have to keep our eye open to that and be concerned. That's not the major threat. It's really domestic terrorism. And we're seeing that a lot of domestic terrorism has been inspired from what they've been getting on social media platforms. And they need to do a whole lot better job of taking down content, or even more importantly, designing their products to prevent the spread of misinformation and the spread of rhetoric that unfortunately can lead to violent attacks in the real world.
Senator, you have so much more access to this kind of critical information than the average American. And you teed up these questions before they came and sat before you. So I'm guessing, let me ask the question instead of guess. Do you think they are acting in good faith? And if not, that kind of issue that you had in front of your committee, if they're not acting in good faith, what do you want to see?
Well, the companies are putting investments in to screen their platforms and trying to take information down. But what I focused on, and really the focus of the hearing, was that instead of waiting till after information gets out on your platform and then gets disseminated very rapidly, and it's clear, we know that sensational and very highly provocative material is often served up by the algorithms because they want to keep people on the platform. And that's the problem with the business model of these companies, is they want to keep people engaged as long as they can so they can serve up ads. And the more ads they can serve up, the more money that they can provide. And oftentimes people can be taken down a rabbit hole and given some pretty dangerous material that sometimes, unfortunately, will inspire someone to engage in an act of violence. And so the focus of my inquiry, and where we have to go, is how do we stop some of these platforms from actually putting out products that they know could be harmful to society and potentially lead to violence. And it was clear from our discussion yesterday that the social media companies get engaged after the fact instead of being proactive and trying to prevent some of this stuff from getting on their platform in the first place.
Senator, in the time that we have left, and I appreciate you taking the time, I want to switch to abortion, which will actually be on the ballot in your home state of Michigan in November. You have spoken to us in the past about your very personal experience with that issue. First, where do you think Michigan voters stand on this? And what do you make of the national abortion ban proposed by your colleague, Senator Lindsey Graham? Were you surprised by it?
Well, I wasn't surprised, because we know Republicans basically want to have a national ban on abortion. And as we've seen with candidates running for office and members of that are currently elected, these are folks who have very, very extreme views, don't believe there should be any exception. No exception for rape, no exception for incest, no exception for the health of the mother, and in some cases, the life of the mother. These are extreme positions, out of step with the majority of the American people. And you have Republicans, Lindsey Graham and others, that they want to have a national ban, regardless of the state that you live in, is to make sure that that women and families don't have reproductive freedom. This is about basic rights that have been enshrined through our courts for half a century, taken away, and now the Republicans want to do it on a national basis. So this is clearly on the ballot in every state in the country. And folks who believe in freedom and reproductive freedom need to make sure that their voice is heard at the ballot box.
What do you think is going to happen in your state?
Michigan, there's no question that a strong majority of people in Michigan believe that this is a fundamental right that should be protected. And I'm confident it'll turn out folks similar to what we saw in Kansas earlier this year.
All right. Senator Gary Peters, can't thank you enough for the time. We do appreciate it. Good to talk to you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.